Welcome to The Survivor's Voice, where resilience meets hope. I'm your host, Angie Sador. I'm sitting here with our producer and editor, Christina Elder.
Thank you so much, Angie. It's definitely a different experience being on this side of the room.
Yes.
But I am really grateful for the opportunity to talk to our listeners a little bit. I just want to say really quick that this show has really changed me hearing these stories. It's a real reminder of the realities of this world, the horrifics of the world, but also that healing is not just about surviving. Healing is about being heard, being validated, being understood by people.
Yeah. And that's what The Survivor's Voice is all about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that we've been able to create a space for our guests where they can be heard and validated and understood.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited and very humbled by the feedback we've gotten from our guests actually about how great of an experience they've had.
And we've had such just a variety and a range of guests on our show. I mean, we have gone through trafficking and medical trauma, church trauma, war. I mean, just so many different things. And maybe some of our listeners are thinking about telling their story.
That would be so awesome. If that's the case, I would like our audience to know we would be honored and privileged to be able to be the platform for them if they so chose to tell their story.
Yes.
We also believe that every single story can help someone else.
Yes.
That's our whole purpose here. Our listeners should know that you don't need to be a speaker. You don't even necessarily need to be past your trauma. You just have to show up. So if listening to this is maybe making your heart beat a little faster, maybe that's a sign that you need to contact us, that maybe you can help somebody else with your story.
If you feel led to speak, we're ready to listen. So reach out to us at booking@thesurvivorsvoice.net. Your story matters here because your voice is your power. Special thank you to Bowman Carter for creating the original music for this podcast. You can find Bowman's music by searching for Bowman Carter on Spotify and on YouTube. We've attached his links in our description of today's episode. Please show him love and support. Today on The Survivor's Voice,
there was a turning point there. It was really ugly when I was young. I think fear keeps us from so much.
the content shared on the Survivor's Voice podcast is intended to be informative and inspirational. We are not licensed therapists, counselors, or medical professionals. The views expressed are based on personal experiences and should not be considered professional advice. If you are in need of mental health support, please consult a licensed professional. Before we begin, this episode may contain discussions of trauma, abuse, or other sensitive topics. Listener discretion is advised. We don't recommend playing this show with young children present, and we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. Welcome to The Survivor's Voice. I'm your host, Angie Sador, and I'm so grateful you're tuning in today. We're meeting with a friend of mine, Jessica, and she's going to be sharing some of the things that have happened in her life. I'm just hoping that it's going to minister to someone out there and really touch someone personally, give them hope, encourage them that there's absolutely nothing that we can't overcome in this life and get through. And so thank you, Jessica, so much for being on our podcast.
Of course. What a beautiful opening. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I sat down and asked, what are we going to talk about?
Well, before we even do that, I want our listeners and our viewers to kind of know who you are. Who's Jessica? What does she do right now? Like, what stage of life are you in? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm laughing because you said, you're like, I don't know anything about your story. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about the podcast either. So we came at this together, kindred spirits, like attracts like. Here we are.
Here we are.
I love you, and this is wonderful. So what a great mission to have. It's actually, while you were saying it, introducing it, I'm hearing it for the first time.
Oh, my God. Well, this is going to be fun.
Isn't it? I thought about doing research. It's the thought that counts, right? Just busy.
Sometimes it's better on a whim.
Yes, right? Yeah. And so while you were saying it, I remembered I have it on my vision board to let God use you to inspire hope for others. That's literally on my vision board.
This is
for
great.
Year. Yeah.
I love it.
That quote exactly. And it's like one of the few quotes that isn't like maybe like pieced together. It was like I found that in a magazine.
Yeah.
So it's like almost just like that. I'll show you later.
Fantastic. I love
Yeah.
that.
So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Mhm.
So what do you do?
I've had a huge transition in the past 3 years of life, kind of and sort of. So I became a Christian when I was 21. I joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it was a radical change and acceptance of Jesus Christ, and I got into, they have a very strong health message, and that changed my whole body. I was living in chronic pain even at 21. That kind of runs in my family, and I was just terrified. So that really spoke to my heart. Like it was the beginning of the healing journey, like a really big, drastic moment in my physical healing. And I believe physical healing and that emotional healing and spiritual healing, like they're so integrated and correlated and stuff. So the health side of that religious institution was just life-changing for me. So I think most people would who know me, identify me with like health at least.
Yes.
That's who I have to thank for it. The good and the bad, nothing's perfect. So it's fun to be on camera again, sharing, because I spent 12 years in full-time ministry for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and 4 years here in America, and then 8 years over in Thailand, in Bangkok, Thailand specifically, a little bit in Chiang Mai for language study and stuff. But I've been all over Thailand. It's a very, very long state or country.
Yeah.
So, but we moved to a place of 15 million people. We were right down the street from a giant university, one of the largest in the world.
Who is we?
My husband and I, so I met him, and took a 4-month-old baby over there, my first child. So he grew up over there, had another 2, and we found out while we were there. We didn't know what we were going to do, but we knew we were called there, and we went over there and found out that Americans are the only ones allowed to own 100% of a Thai company. And
Really?
Some treaty that goes back to World War II.
Oh my gosh.
My kid's dad was extremely gifted with language learning, and so he just picked up that Thai tonal language, which I predicted. I was like, you have such an ear for music. You're going to be so good at this. And then my son's the same way. Like, it was funny. People used to ask me, who taught your kids Thai? I was like, me. And they'd laugh because I sound so terrible. But it was so interesting. I mean, I love to learn. I'm eternally curious. And so me going to Southeast Asia, a place I had never been before, knew nothing about. Kind of like how I moved to Spokane. I'm originally from Phoenix, and I moved to Spokane. I'd never been here. Sight unseen, and then moved to Bangkok the same way.
Yeah.
Showed up on a podcast. Sight unseen. It's kind of my thing.
I love it.
Life's beautiful. If you just look forward to it, and you put that positive thought out, your thoughts will create your world.
Yes.
So the world's wonderful. So getting to study the culture and learn a language, learn your own culture. I used to think in America, like, oh, we're just a blend of cultures. Like, we don't really have our own, right?
But you go somewhere else.
You go somewhere else, and their culture offends you, and you go, oh, there's my culture. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. So, just self-discovery and curiosity of the world. And Asia, you can't get any further from American thinking than going to East. So different.
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
When we first moved there, you have to do visa runs every 3 months. It's not that easy to move to a country, everybody, another country. Americans, we don't know what it's like to travel in between things, getting visas and things. Man, it's a pain sometimes. But it forces you to travel, but we were cheap, so we just always ended up going to border towns. And anyways, there were some other missionaries in Cambodia that we went and visited that had been there 20 or 25 years and had done amazing things, orphanages, schools, now they have like a butterfly farm, and those are really cool if you ever go to like Central America or South America, Southeast Asia. It's like this huge enclosure, maybe like 5 acres, and it's a butterfly farm. And you go and there's just butterflies and a waterfall, and it's like the most beautiful.
That sounds wonderful.
Well, then he turned it into a way for tourists, but then the kids learn English and do a presentation of the gospel through metamorphosis of the butterfly.
Oh my goodness.
And the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Wow.
It's cool.
I bet.
It's really neat. So anyways, they hadn't done that yet, but before that we met them, and they'd been there, like I said, 20, 25 years. And through Cambodia had been through some rough stuff back then too when they showed up. So they were really cool. And so, we were really looking forward to meeting them. You kind of have them on this pedestal, and the gentleman tells us, that, the first thing you have to do is you have to teach people to think. And I was like, that's the rudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You've been here too long. You're burned out. Like, you need to go home.
Okay. Yeah.
I lived there for 8 years, and the first thing you have to do is you have to teach people to ask why and to question things and have a little bit of, in the East, you do what you're told. It's out of respect.
Wow.
So the West taught you to say why and to question and stand up. The West was started by Protestant Christians. Protest isn't that word, like challenging authority. We have a lot more of that fight in America than in Asia. And so it was really interesting to see.
Makes sense.
I went through COVID over there. They don't question. There's a lot of fear used to get them to not ask why. And it was sad to see like the level of where fear can take people. Jesus said, in the Bible, like, by their fruits you'll know them. So, like, I got to study different religions in each country, like, where we were positioned. It was like, okay, where does Buddhism take you after 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 years, right?
Yeah.
Where does, what are the other ones, like the...
Hinduism.
Yeah, well, and there's little sects of them, animism, like the ones I was thinking in Cambodia, and, it's a form of Buddhism, too, but and then you got to go where atheism was, where there was, up in Laos, there was how they treat people. You go to China, man, okay, where's atheism get you there? They're not very nice to you. Why would they respect you? You're sludge that grew out of the ocean and matured into,
Oh my
like,
God.
you get to see where that teaching goes and how it shapes people.
Wow.
So, you step back and take that big picture, and it was like, so like a different flavor in every country. And I loved going to Malaysia, because it was like 3 amazing cultures competing to be the best. So you got to see all those cultures at their best. So like the Chinese are incredible. Man, like the order and stuff that they have.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is you understand history. The Chinese that are in other countries always started there as a Christian sect because they were running away from oppression.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
So
true.
the only graveyards you'll find are Christian Chinese graveyards, and then slowly they just evolve back into Buddhism or whatever, blend into whatever's there.
Wow.
But they're always successful businessmen. Yeah, it's incredible. But then they'd have like the Malay and the Muslim down there, and then they had the Indian groups, and just like going and eating on a banana leaf, and they just walk around with a buffet of Indian stuff. And
Oh my God.
I mean, just the culture was so cool, and all the different temples, and just seeing it's the same problems in their stuff that we have here.
Yeah.
Theirs maybe has just been marinating a little longer and can get a bit more shocking, but like ours will probably get there too if you just let it run a few more thousand years. The corruption in the church is disgusting, and it'll only get worse.
Well, let's not even.
So they're
get me
just
started
further
on that.
along.
Yeah.
I was in full-time ministry as a woman starting at 24.
So you didn't grow up in church.
No,
Okay.
I was born into a Catholic family, and then my mom left my dad, my dad left my mom and wanted to remarry a woman who was a really strict Catholic, and divorce is illegal technically.
Right. Yeah.
So in order to marry this new woman, he had to say that the marriage with my mom didn't really happen, and the way you say that is it wasn't consummated.
What?
So that meant these we aren't his.
No way.
I mean, that's the technical. If you play that out, if that's the thought you have, that's the thought my mom played out. Those are the feelings she pulled from. That was her perspective of it. And she said, I'm done. So I love this story too. So she said, my mom was really young. So she got married, she was 17, had me like right before she turned 19. And I was in the baptismal class, right? And she said the nuns were still teaching. So my mom was raised pretty strict that way. And she said, she said, if the baby doesn't get baptized, it goes to purgatory or something. And my mom said, she looked at me, it's like, perfect baby, like, God won't do that, no. And she said she didn't realize, but like her hand was in the air. And the nun calls on her. And she's like, yes. And she's like, I don't believe that. She said it was all she could say was, I don't believe that. And the nun's response was, yes, you do. And I was like,
What?
no, I don't. Yes, I didn't. She's like, I realized. So it was futile, right? Like I dropped it.
Wow.
And my mom, of course she went through with it. Just, just 19, whatever.
Right.
People pleasing. But my brother wasn't baptized. So I kind of feel like there was a turning point there because my dad left well after my brother was, of age, a couple years. So I always thought that was interesting. So I do see the shift in my family. And so, yeah, kind of my grandma and my mom were the first ones to step out of the faith. That really burned them. And my mom met my stepdad, who was a Seventh-day Adventist. He was adopted into a family and raised that way. But he wasn't like a really great guy. So they met in a bar. They got married. He wasn't. He wasn't conservative and strict or like practicing. Probably is a nice way to put it now.
Yeah.
Right. He wasn't practicing, and I met in a bar. They got married in Vegas like 6 months later. Like my mom did not look like a Seventh-day Adventist in 1990. It was still very conservative.
Yeah.
Remember the jumpers and the sneakers. So my mom and stepdad married, and so my mom knew the Adventists had a really good school. So that is how I got to know the culture.
Okay.
So I went to the Adventist schools, which are wonderful private schools.
Like how old?
Oh, kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kindergarten up till
Gotcha.
6th grade.
Okay.
And that's where I learned about Jesus. I loved it. I loved it. They pushed you. There was a lot of competition, but it was great.
Yeah.
And I got more stubborn, and life wasn't good. Life was pretty rough at home. There was a lot of abuse in the home, and every kind. Let's go with that. Every kind.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just leave it at that.
Okay.
And abuse is horrible. It shapes people. Like my parents were young. My mom and dad, he poor guy, never learned to forgive. He was angry till he died. I think it killed him. If he is proof that I think you got to learn to forgive and let go of that revenge, or it'll kill you. Because he died of a double heart attack at 54.
Oh my gosh.
I know, and he was angry about things he felt wrong, areas he felt wronged, and just you're welcome to hold on to that.
Yeah.
But I told him that's going to kill you, and it did. So, and I lived through all of that anger and rage too. I mean, they just been learning about personality patterns and things, like certain ages of wounding create certain patterns. I'm a massage therapist now, yay.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of different bodies, and there are patterns, there are categories, and you can tell a body that just kind of like endures, like a steady person kind of takes it, like they just look strong, right? Like they just take those emotions and hold them for everyone else. And then, if there's stuff that happens during in utero or birth, if there's trauma during that, like that really young age. Have you ever heard of a spinning babies class?
No.
It teaches people how to deliver babies that get stuck, because when a baby's coming out of birth canal, it spins. And so if there are the ages of wounding of certain traumatic events and things happen during, in utero over to when you're 6 months, you're likely to have a twist in your body or an imbalance or
Okay.
needs not being met. It's really interesting.
I bet.
Yeah, so I can look back and I see that now, and I see what it does to people, and it gives you grace. You're no different. And then you have your own kids, and you're like, damn, I did the same thing. So thank God for healing. It was really ugly when I was young, and I remember like calculating the days until I turned 18. I was like, it's like jail.
Yeah.
I just got to survive, just got to get through this. So, oldest daughter, perfectionist, get into school and just work hard. And I just wanted to live at school.
I bet.
I loved school. It was great. I love to learn. I told you so. And I'm social and I love people and did all of that. And then ran away up here, came up here when I was 19. Yeah.
With your
my younger
child.
brother who was 17.
Oh, no. Okay.
Just me.
Just you.
My brother, we came up here. I talked my family into coming up here to try and buy a house up here because Phoenix had exploded, and we were coming up here on vacation. And 2 weeks before, I said, "I'm getting a U-Haul. We're moving." So we moved up here.
Just like that.
Yep, guys, and got an apartment and got a job at the Davenport Hotel at the spa. Like my first day, I was here, and a girl invited me to come out to Coeur d'Alene, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So like my first weekend was on Coeur d'Alene Lake, and I was like, I made the right decision. This place is amazing. I escaped the desert. It felt like death. There was no life. The desert. It's different.
It is.
And it was a big city desert. And
Yeah.
So then I moved up here. So, what else? Moved up here, and then spent a couple years just partying and being crazy. Had some great roommates. Ended up meeting a guy that was my roommate, actually, that I didn't know. I moved into a house with 5 roommates, and he was one of them. He's like, you're sharing a bathroom with this guy. And just became really great friends, and that developed. And then was super into partying. We were such potheads and drinkers. Not really drinkers, but potheads. And we skied all summer. Or I'm sorry, skied all winter. And we backpacked all summer because he had been a survival expert. So yeah, in the military, we just had a blast. I fell in love with backpacking, and I love being outside. Anything hiking. So and then when I was 21, things were really rocky in the family thing, but I had kind of bailed and
But
separated.
they stayed there.
No, they followed me up here.
They did.
And then my parents split.
Well, they were
And-
here?
Yeah. And my
Oh.
brothers stayed with my dad. My one brother moved out. So at one time going over to visit my stepdad, so you got to watch these videos. And they were about health. They were about like geology and like a young earth theory and creationism. There were a whole bunch of videos about Bible prophecies and secret societies and all the conspiracy theories. I was raised pretty much conspiracy theorist by my stepdad. So I've been a conspiracy theorist for so long. We were Democrats. Like, you know how it used to be?
I know, because
Like-
it shifted.
It shifted. Like
Yeah.
I have never voted a day in my life. I don't agree. I just don't use my energy in the political
Gotcha.
elections, and I don't want to split that way. So I just think it's hilarious that I've been shifted.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of people were
and
shifted.
I know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So again, I just like question everything, and definitely have that fighting spirit in me. To
Mhm.
I just and I want everyone to have freedom. Like I feel like that's one thing that we're kind of missing in America. You know, the definition of freedom is even if I don't like your opinion, I still have to defend your right to have it against mine
No
if I deserve
kidding.
mine.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? That's true freedom.
Yep.
That's true respect. And freedom is definitely one of my big words. That's like your core values, right?
Mm.
Core values. And I remember doing that exercise, like trying to find your core value. And I
Yes.
thought for sure it was going to be health. That's what everyone would have pegged me for. But even health is freedom, because, you know, with all there's so much fear in all of the conspiracy theories. I mean, I grew up with so much fear, not religious fear, but conspiracy fear. So I can kind of relate that way. I get that. And like, how do you cope with that? And so I guess I have lots of like radical beliefs, but I've been coping with them for so long that I'm calm about it. And if you believe you're going to be provided for and taken care of, it's like I'm being provided for and taken care of while it's chaotic. You know, like it's okay. It'll still be provided for and taken care of, and just having peace about that. But anyway, having health feels like to me freedom from that system too. You know, it's like free yourself from those corrupt systems.
Yeah.
You know, take care of yourself, personal responsibility. You're not a victim.
Mm.
You know, like you can be, I guess, but I don't want to be. I want to learn from my mistakes, other people's mistakes, and be able to live happy and healthy and free. And then,
So let's talk about your first marriage.
oy.
Was it was it a good marriage?
Well, he was the one that I fell in love with the Northwest with, right? Like you felt so safe with him out in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
So he was the one that was your roommate?
Yeah, and he was
Oh.
super active, and
Okay.
him and he was only child to a single mom who was a wonderful woman, and she was like 6 years old, still tap dancing and skiing with me. I'm keeping up with her, running around the block. Like she was great too. So it's kind of like us three, honestly. We, you know, I was so young and she was so sweet, and then we all converted to Seventh-day Adventism and went vegan, and like it was some radical life changes, and she did too. And but we still kept doing what we did. We still kept backpacking and skiing, and then I guess talking about him. So I thought when we got married that we were going to keep growing and like getting rid of, you know, those bad habits
Yeah,
and things.
Of course.
No, I had that thought, but I guess I didn't discuss that out loud.
Mm.
And he was still caught up in some vices, and then, you know, we were young, and the relationship had been broken back and forth. Excuse me, before Christianity, and then we committed to each other after that. But then he cheated on me,
Oh.
like 4 months into the marriage.
Oh shoot.
Yeah,
How did you find out?
he told me.
Oh.
Like he walked in the door, and I turned and looked at him, and I knew.
Mm.
You know when you like walk in on someone in the bathroom and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, sorry. Like I turned around and I had that same like, oh, I saw something I wasn't supposed to see, but
Oh
it was
my
just
God.
him walking through. But like, God, the energy, the vibrate, whatever you're doing, you know, that emotion that you feel, whatever you feel when your intuition hits you like that. It was like I jumped back around and looked at the stove. I was like, what? And he ended up telling me that night, or next night, I mean, he was so guilt-ridden. So, like, I mean, that's, again, trauma and compulsion and stuff handed down, like generational stuff. You know, his dad had cheated on his mom and just, like,
Yeah.
not knowing how to process things. You know, we just act out and we're kids and we hurt each other. People who've been married for decades, God bless you. Like, I can't, there's just hard things happen, you know? And people,
Yeah.
so I tried to forgive and work through that. And I got into ministry. And then that's when I was like, look, this, like, the porn was really bad. And like, you know, it's like, okay, you're a sex addict in porn, but you don't want to be with your wife. Like,
Gotcha.
that doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It just starts to turn weird. Bad things start to happen, and that messes with you emotionally when you're young, and that's where you
course.
get your, you know, affirmation and, you know, self-worth from.
Yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
was devastating. And then I started counseling, like, immediately. Like, our pastor told us in our pre-marriage counseling, which I think he should have told us both this, not just me, because
kidding,
that
yeah.
got weaponized.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I've, you know, I worked with one really great pastor, so I'll let his words say it. And any pastors or anybody in ministry who knows people in ministry, he took a sabbatical that was supposed to be 6 months after years of pastoring, and ended up being 6 years. He went back and got his mental health degree and started a counseling practice. He said, we are so ill-equipped in seminary for what we have to deal with.
God, it's so true.
He goes, 5% is what we learn in seminary. You know, think of all the trauma you have to deal with actually, like, applying
People,
biblical,
just dealing with
humans,
people.
stories.
Gosh. So then how long did you stay with your husband after that?
Our divorce was finalized at 2 years.
Okay. So you guys tried to work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a lot of spiritual abuse. So I'm glad I tried to work it out, because I got to see what women go through who try to work it out. But I was 24 years old and had no children and no STDs, and a man that wasn't stopping. So I'm glad God created divorce. Do you know where divorce first originated in the Bible?
Where is that?
In the Old Testament. It originated in the Old Testament to protect slave wives. Yeah, it was to protect her from, like, not being provided for physically. Even withholding love was a reason to be able to leave, because it is abusive. You know, neglect. If you neglect a dog, you go to jail.
Yeah.
If you neglect a child, you go to jail. But if you neglect your wife, it's not abuse.
Right. It's not right. It's not okay.
And God didn't think so either, even in the Old Testament.
No.
You know, so.
You're his daughter. He loves you.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any harm to come to you.
And if it is coming to you and it's not stopping, he would protect you and get you away from
100%.
that. And not say, what's wrong with your heart? How come you can't forgive?
No.
And
he's not the one that you did missionary work with. Okay.
yeah, no,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a good guy. He's married and has kids. He's his own thing. I wish the best for him and his family, you know. No hard feelings at all. Like, I don't know, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason and you can use it. I think a lot of times we attract what we need to be a mirror and to trigger us and show us the still painful parts in us. Like, if we get curious about our emotions and, like, wow, that's an interesting point of view I have. You know, and stop making it, get curious about it rather than grading it. Is this good or is this bad? Is this negative? Is this positive? Because then it's like, oh, being sad and being angry, or those are, if you view those as lower and we need to, like, ascend and, like, only be happy, you're missing the human experience. So don't want to get away from feelings. Instead, have, like, a circle and have all the feelings in them. And when one of them highlights, say, that's an interesting point of view.
Yeah.
I have that point of view. Why?
Yeah.
Why do I feel sad right now? Because we're so complex as human beings emotionally. Like, I can get a gift and be happy and disappointed at the same time.
It's true.
And that's not wrong or right.
Yeah.
That's just human.
Yeah.
That's just life. That's just emotions. And so, yeah, I think emotional intelligence feels like freedom to me too, because it helps you break free of fear, helps you break free of people pleasing, which I think is fear too. But fear is a lot of it. I think fear keeps us from so much. So my intention is to be fearless.
Yeah. So how did you meet your second husband?
with my eyes closed in prayer. We met at something called camp meeting. It's all the churches in this area get together out in like Spangle, Washington. It's like 2,000 people, and people camp and you hang out for a week, and there's meetings, and just everyone come together because a lot of times you're just in this church or that church. So they had a prayer room set up at the library because there's a big Adventist high school out there. And so they have a big library, and that was the prayer room. And so someone said it was really cool. So I went in there, and it's popcorn prayer. It's like 1 or 2 sentences, and they guide you through like, okay, we're going to take time to praise God for who he is. And so you praise his character, who he is, not for what he does, who he is. And then it transitions into a time of humility, and like you pray and you ask people, you ask God to like reveal things in your heart that are, just sins, common things, not, and I remember he was kind of guiding us through that, and there's a little song in transition, and then he would kind of tell you what part you were in. And during that part, he was like, please forgive me for being arrogant. I was like, does he know we can hear him? Like, who prays that kind of prayer? And then he asked, other people are like asking them, forgive yourself for losing my temper, for saying nasty things. Like, I felt like very vulnerable. Like, I was not a vulnerable person at that time, and I felt like so exposed. And when you're in that level of vulnerability with so many people, it's powerful.
Oh, it is.
That's a very powerful, sacred moment, and it really very much like overwhelmed me. And I remember him saying like, please forgive me for judging other people according to their prayers. I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, okay, surely he's deaf. He can't hear anything anybody's saying. And God hit me. He was like, no, he just doesn't care that you're here. He's not praying for you. He's praying to me.
Yeah.
And I saw that vulnerability, and I saw it as freedom I didn't have. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Who are you? And then I opened my eyes, and he was handsome. So that was nice. Yeah. So we ended up, I think it was a year later, we were married. And then a year and a half later, had first baby. And, Asher, my first child, needed brain surgery.
Oh my
He
God.
came 10 days early. He was born with, they caught it at 14 days. Oh my goodness, hydrocephalus. So water on the brain.
Okay.
So that's the one where the baby's head gets big.
Yes.
So all of our brains make water and recycle it. His makes it, but doesn't drain it. So, it's putting the pressure on.
This was when he was in the womb? This was happening? Or this?
No, they didn't know. They didn't know until he was 14 days old, and then he had surgery at 15 days
gotcha.
old. So they immediately put a shunt in, and it drains down into his tummy. But they told us there was evidence of a brain bleed that had happened in utero, so some kind of little mini stroke that had stopped, and there was a 30% chance of cerebral palsy, 25-30% chance.
Oh my gosh.
And we were already scheduled to be leaving to Bangkok. Yeah. So yeah, that was really crazy. What do you do? Do you stay? Do you go? I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay. I was really scared. I mean, postpartum, first baby. Oh, and you're like this health nut and like an unbalanced one. I need to admit, I need to not make that transition look beautiful. We should go back. Yeah, when I converted at 21, like I was crazy. Like I was so convicted of just everything, and my whole world shifted. And I have a big mouth, and God used it, but not always without offense to people. And so, I believe some pretty radical things. And so I'm happy to be on tape showing a much calmer side and evolved side of myself, healed side of myself, because this is going to be needed as evidence later that, look, she's not still like that. Like a long time ago. She sounds much better. I'm serious.
I love it.
So, yeah. Here we are. So, yeah, I live pretty outrageously, radically. I've always let God just kind of lead, and I'm open to being spontaneous and, spontaneous / impulsive, but, high risk, high rewards.
Yeah. I can relate.
You can relate,
Totally.
And, your trauma, it serves a lot of us. And I think that's what I'm learning is I don't want it. And that's why we don't always let it go. And we don't want to heal, and we don't want to invest because we're comfortable in it. And parts of it serve us. Yeah, so we met, and we went to Thailand. And, yeah, we raised money. We came up. I had this sign that was cardboard sign, so we look like beggars, and it said, "We'll preach for Thailand."
Oh my God.
And so instead of going around and asking for money, because even before we went to Thailand, we're like, groveling is not going to look good on us. Like, I can't do that. Do not want to stand and ask for money. Like, I can go make money. No, we'll just let God provide. So we decided to be really radical and just pray and never ask for money. But we did offer to earn it. So we got to like travel around, and he would preach, or we would do weeks of prayer. We really got into prayer ministry together because that's how we met. And just had our entire life, where we're the best, where our relationship is the happiest and most connected is when we were both just in ministry. We both just loved it so much that we got married because we knew we'd be better at ministry together. And we just fit. Like,
Yeah.
I got the big pictures, and that man will make my dreams come true. He works his tail off, and what he accomplished in Thailand is way more admirable than mine. I mean, I raised kids, so that's admirable too.
Absolutely.
I was pregnant or breastfeeding the entire 8 years, not a break.
Wow.
I didn't stop breastfeeding until I was pregnant with the next one. 8 years in Thailand in that hot humidity, just
Oh.
babies never had a bottle. Like, I was crazy committed. And my kids have some struggles. I'm glad that I was able to be there for them. And even though it was hard, I still knew I was so blessed to be at home for those 8 years. And I knew my kids were better for it, especially putting me in a place where I was cut off from all other connections.
For real.
Like,
Jeez.
so I actually focused on them. Like, it was really isolating. It was weird living over there for, 8 years with 15 million people and just having to fight for friends. And just that time of life is so hard, but no family, no, it was something. So, he learned the language, and then we had a 5-story building that we ended up renting right down the street from that university, and he remodeled that in a second language with a contractor in a second language.
Wow.
And that building was beautiful. We built a rock climbing gym, so that was our way of residual income. See, I've been on the residual income for a long time. It was a way to support ourselves with the gym memberships, as well as get tourists as well.
Oh yeah.
So we caught some English speaking money too, and then he did guided outdoor tours as well. So he'd pack up a 15-person van every Sunday with all the gear for everybody, all different sizes and this and that, and get people up on the mountain. So we got them out of the concrete jungle into the real jungle. And that was just really easy to talk about, your testimony and creation, and just, it was just such a great way to minister to people. And then you're over there as a business visa, not as a religious one. So, because the government wants to, get rid of Christians, you just shut down the NGOs.
Oh, gotcha.
Because that's what they all are. So
Yeah.
we were over there as businessmen.
Smart.
Yeah, so the tent makers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the one cool thing I remember going south of Thailand is beautiful. It's called Phuket. Everybody who looks at that and doesn't want to say it the wrong way, it's Phuket, so it's Phuket.
Okay.
It's so beautiful, and they kicked all the tourists out during 2020, and so we got to go down there, and the beaches were empty. And
Oh my
it was like
gosh.
pristine. Oh my goodness, it was so gorgeous.
I bet. My goodness.
Yeah, we just ran away from the city basically when that hit, and it's stressful living overseas. It's really stressful.
Oh.
And what
Yeah.
we were accomplishing, we were just such a team. I mean, we got asked to move to Lebanon. They wanted us to go over there and study the Middle Eastern culture, and then every city that had more than 1 million people, for us to build a gym and train a team to duplicate what we were doing there. It was next level. We had a bakery there. Each level was a different business. We were just begging for people to come and help us, because we were naive enough to think we could open 4 businesses at once initially. We were such dreamers.
Yeah.
And it drove me crazy, and he drove me crazy. And when people are broken and you refuse to change, it's not like you have to say they're a narcissist, or you have to say they're this or that, though I have. You can just be broken and hurt people. And if you refuse to heal, then it becomes your responsibility. Now it's your fault. Now it's your responsibility. It's not your fault that it happened to you,
Right.
but it is your responsibility to go and do something about it, and make sure you don't keep repeating it and passing it on. So, yeah. Motherhood, I would say, broke me as well over there, being completely alone and literally not having any emotional support from that husband, just a lot of spiritual abuse. And it's not completely his fault. I blame when I get mad at my ex-husband for how I was treated, I also get mad at the church for how they trained him to be in our marriage.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't treat me like his dad treats his mom. He treats me how the church taught him, and he's very literal and very black and white.
Mm.
And, you know, it's just hard and just brokenness. And then I come to find out. So I thought I was in this very unsupported, neglected marriage, which is common for a lot of people. He never cheated on me, never anything, but there was no getting through. There was no changing. I was at that point, and I woke up to the fact that it was abusive, and it really was brokenness. And I left really dramatically. So the U.S. Embassy helped me get away. But the U.S. Embassy had to help me get away because I had two boys without passports.
Mm. Yeah,
And
because they were born there.
no, they had passports, but they had been let expire, and then some paperwork
Oh.
was lost, and it was the middle of COVID, so they had to issue emergency passports.
Okay.
And so if that happens, you're allowed to take them straight home. If I took them anywhere else, it would have been child abduction, obviously, but I was trying to get home. I was trying to get away.
Mm-hmm.
So
He stayed there.
he didn't know I was leaving.
Okay.
And he got a note, and then, I told him in 1 month I'll reach out. If an emergency happens, you'll be notified, this and that. So yeah, I got back to America. He found out I was in America through a family member, a family member being careless. And then we came back, and the respiratory bugs kicked our butt for the first solid year and a half. We came back in winter, and then that next winter got us really bad too. But my daughter was still quite small. She was 2.5. And she got these two just wicked viruses at the same time that landed her in the hospital. Almost my 5-year-old boy too. He was on the edge, and it was rough even for the 8-year-old. And on top of all the shock and trauma of leaving and everything else, like going from Thailand, I had to go buy them shoes with that weren't flip flops, closed-toed shoes, and jackets because we were going through. There was stuff waiting in America, but going through Japan at that time of year was, going to be 32 degrees, changing planes. And so all during COVID and all of that. So I escaped, and that felt really good for me because it, I wish my mom would have left. And I promised I would if I was ever in an abusive situation.
Yeah.
So when it was clear that it was bad, I made that decision and left, and God got me out of there in like a month. It was really radical. Sadly, it's funny how life works. So my son, he needed to come back and get into occupational therapy like right away with his different. We really did him a disservice being in Thailand for 8 years. We did. He had glasses kind of, but it's created some visual perceptual issues, and you just wonder, could we have mitigated some of this much, much earlier? And did we choose ministry over our own son? And a lot of that. So that was really important to get him in. And his therapist has been so helpful with everything and really fought through. She saw what I saw too, because she said, your son is highly intelligent. He communicates. He's so social. He's happy. He's smart. He plays games. He interacts. She goes, but he's working 10 times harder than everyone else. She's like, he's going to fall through the cracks. It's something different. I'm like, I know. And, she just kept helping me push through. And because he was so smart in school. And so the teachers were like, nothing's wrong with him. So it took a couple years for it to, and as whatever he has also is it's going to become more noticeable as he gets older. It'll be a starker difference, right?
Okay.
So we know that now. Anyways, we got him a diagnosis just last October. It was incredible. They told us it was going to be. I started doing really, really serious therapy with Tracy. I'd been doing it for about a year, and then I took a whole 3 days and did an intensive. And then that next week, and a lot of it was focused around my ex-husband and dealing with that past pain and just all of my baggage and stuff, and but specifically him. And that next week we had an appointment for my son Asher, and that is what ended up getting us a referral to a specialist. They said it was going to be 6 to 9 months to see that specialist, and it was 5 weeks later. So on Halloween, actually, last year, we got a diagnosis for Asher, and it's called a nonverbal learning disorder.
Okay.
So it has like the touch of like a really, really high functioning autism to the point of where you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know. It's
Gotcha,
like
yeah.
the kid's like the Rain Man for English, and language, reading, writing, just sounds. Their ears are so sensitive because they're a nonverbal learning disorder, right? So everything that's nonverbal, just that's like that mild autism social side of thing. Like they miss some social cues, but they learn eventually. Like they memorize them, but there's a very awkward, like kind of teenage revelation that happens there.
Okay.
And then that at that same time, what happens is they're so smart growing up, and rote memory isn't a problem, but problem solving is. And so at that same time, puberty's happening. School is also intensifying with the social things, and like these kids. It actually says in the paperwork, if there isn't a plan in place for kids, for the teachers, for everybody, parents, if we're not all on the same page, then like by around middle school, then failure in school is inevitable.
Oh, shoot.
And he's 10 and a half, so we were like, right on, we caught it. I have my suspicions about their father, who was like reading at 3 or 4 in all the gifted programs. In 8th grade, the first class he ditched was the one he had to give an oral report for. He'd done the work, but couldn't stand in front of people.
It was like it's genetic.
His father also dropped out at 16 and joined the military.
Oh my God.
And his father, his grandson, was World War II, so he joined too. His 4 brothers were in the paper. They all dropped out and joined. So
that's interesting.
I have my suspicions. That's
Sure.
all.
Sure.
And with those suspicions, I understand a lot more of what I experienced. And what I experience, it still hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
It's still there. I just know how to deal with it a lot better. Might I have considered it a sickness when I was still in Thailand and stayed married to him? Probably. I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
And I'm free to go be the woman that I am and go kick some butt in business, because, you know, where I was in that marriage, the highest calling, the glass ceiling was motherhood. I wasn't allowed to do anything but that. And I'm not really that great at that. So I'm a lot better at some other aspects of life. And I do the motherhood thing, and I love my kids, but like what they need right now, so much of that is school and education and things. I'm like, there are other people, and I can provide for us more and take care of that if I go work here in America. And so we actually, do you know I live with my ex-husband?
Yeah.
I do. So after I had lived, we came back 3 years. In October, I found that out. I was planning on, I still, when I grow up, I want to be a midwife. And becoming a midwife when you have children is next to impossible if you don't have a nice, supportive, well-off husband, free childcare.
Yeah.
Or have enough money to not work and pay for childcare. So it's really hard. So you end up with a bunch of very young midwives whose parents pay for everything, or ladies who are done being moms and things. So it's hard. It requires a hustle. I've been working towards that. So their dad and I discussed at the beginning of the year trying to live together and see how that would work. He lives he's got a big house right now out in the country, and it's modest. But it's big, it's rough, but my kids get to be out in the country, and we love that. And we have chickens. I love the chickens, and they have all their zoo animals and porcupines, and
it's
riding their bikes out there.
The friendship is working out with you and your...
Yeah, it's just we're roommates. We're barely friends.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
yeah.
I hurt him and embarrassed him, I'm sure, to high heavens. So with my big mouth, because I started, once you lift up the rock of abuse in the church...
Oh, Lord.
It's like a bottomless pit. And it was so overwhelming. So
what would you say to a woman who might be, I don't know how to say this without sounding really awful, but maybe under a man's thumb, or has been made to believe that is the way, that's the right way
Yeah, she's been programmed.
Yes.
Maybe for women who are under their thumb, or even under the thumb of a church, like it's not just a man. It can be an oppressive system. It can be an oppressive job.
Yeah.
It can be an oppressive roommate. It can be a sibling. It can be a mother,
Totally.
father, right? Like
right.
if you're under the thumb of anybody, most of it's probably in your mind more than anything. I feel like 90% of our issues are in there, and it comes from programming. Again, not your fault, but is your responsibility. And so this energy work stuff that I got into, if you let God lead you, if your intention is to heal your body, your mind, you will set that intention. It will find it, because your body was designed to heal.
Yeah.
Science calls it homeostasis, but it's constantly trying to get to a level of balance, right? And healing. Like a cut, you don't get to decide for it to heal. You can decide not for it not to, but like the body is literally programmed to heal. So if you have that intention, like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to be like, what can I do? What, and take responsibility, like, lead me to that healing. And be willing to challenge yourself and be honest and vulnerable and humble, and like you'll get led to stuff. You will.
For sure.
You will. And it's it's cool. So the healing I got into, the intention I set for the healing I wanted to be able to provide, I wanted it to be able to provide the community I came out of. So I wanted to be able to reach me in my most conservative state. So I was like, I'm not going to go into the stones and stuff that scare people. I'm not going to go into the psilocybin and this and that. I'm not going to go into hypnotism. That doesn't feel right to me. I just like control. I don't like the idea of something being done to me. I want to be in control of it. And so, like, that's what God led me to.
Yeah.
And that's been really cool. And it's just words. It's the vows, contracts, commitments, the things we say, the lies we've bought and sold when we were young. The brain waves that a brain is in up until about 7 years old, it's in theta, which is where hypnotists are trying to get you, actually, so they can program you.
Wow.
You are literally in a programmable state as a child. You are your parents' trauma. You are your perspective of it and how you took it and imprinted you, whether you like it or not. And what is traumatic to us and our viewpoint now is very different from how a 3-year-old viewed it, right? And it's like life is just one hit after another for a nervous system. That body holds it in and it builds up.
Yep.
I see it in injuries, right? And we call it old age. I'm like, I think it's built up trauma, and there's some, I love that it's words that set us free. And
because words are so powerful.
Yeah, and why I like this type of this modality that I'm doing for healing is because I felt like when I go to a counselor, I have to dig up all the bad stuff, and then I leave, and I just still feel yucky.
Awful.
I still feel yucky.
Yes.
It's
true.
Great. We just triggered me, right? And so like EMDR was cool, and then I ended up finding this that was just even more efficient. And I feel like it's the truth that sets you free.
Yes.
And so the truth is like a bowling ball. Like you decide what you want, the truth that you believe, the truth that you know now as an adult and not a 6-year-old that's still running that program of, when you were 6, what you perceived and are inputting. Now you can decide what you want. And it's like this bowling ball that goes and strikes out 10 lives that you operate with.
Totally.
And, if God created the world with his words, he spoke things into existence, and then he made us in his image, then our words are powerful too.
Yes.
And whether you like the term manifesting or not, your words are creating your world.
Yep.
What you believe deep down in the subconscious, sub is below. You don't know what's running back there unless you stop and take time to listen to those still small voices, and then you got to get them up and out or knock them out. And I think the truth is the best thing for it and the most efficient thing.
For sure.
Maybe I'm just lazy, but I like to be efficient and work smart, not hard. And let's get the power of 10 counseling sessions out of one.
Yeah.
And the journey through somatic healing with massage and just having it. I mean, I had emotional releases unintentionally, and I had to understand can I do that? How do we wrangle this, right? How do we rein this in and control it? And God led me to a way to learn how to do that. And so for myself, Tracy Beeson is a wonderful friend of mine. We get together every Sabbath. Actually, we do Sabbath healings. Jesus did lots of healing on Sabbath. And so we get together and we just do a session for each other back and forth. We both do therapy for other people during the week.
Awesome.
And so we take time to serve one another. And she's wonderful. And it's been an incredible year of growth in everywhere.
Yeah.
I've never set goals in my life. I had so many limiting beliefs. It was unbelievable. I lived in chronic pain. My family laughed when I said I was going to go to massage school. It was like, your body will never be able to keep up. You know, just, I mean,
Wow.
the amount of physical healing I've gotten from doing this type of stuff has just been with my words. And so I think Jesus is called the word of life for a reason. I wonder if he went in there and was like, you believe lies. You should let that go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what if a whole town believed they all still seethed with unforgiveness and resentment towards that town? Do you think Jesus could come in and heal that whole village with just words?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how he did it. It sounds really efficient.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for coming on
It's fun.
with limited sleep.
I know. Sorry, you had to listen to some crazy rambling.
It's fine.
If you want to re-record
No, I
with more structure.
appreciate you. I think for sure.
You're sweet. This was fun.
Our sponsor, Safe Harbor, is putting on their annual Hope on the Move 5K. And if you're in the inland Northwest, we'd love to see you there. The Fun Run 5K is stroller and pet friendly and raises funds to support Safe Harbor's mission of providing rescue and support for survivors of human trafficking. Sign up on Safe Harbor's website, safeharborforfreedom.com, or find the event on Facebook at Safe Harbor for Freedom. If you'd like to sponsor the event for as little as $50 or make a donation pledge, you can find more information at safeharborforfreedom.com. Every dollar makes a difference. Now, more than ever, victims of human trafficking need our help and community awareness. Again, sign up for this year's Safe Harbor Hope on the Move 5K at safeharborforfreedom.com and help us support those that are impacted by human trafficking. Next week on The Survivor's Voice.
I didn't have a good feeling about her. I have no idea how long it continued. Time doesn't heal.
Thank you for listening to this story on The Survivor's Voice. I'm your host, Angie Sador, reminding you that every survivor's story matters. A heartfelt thank you to our incredible listeners for your support and to the survivor community for your courage and resilience. You are the heart of this show. Special thanks to our producer and editor, Christina Elder, to Bowman Carter for our beautiful song, and to Dan Wise with North Idaho Podcast Productions for bringing these powerful stories to life. Your dedication, talent, and most importantly, your hearts make the survivor's voice possible.